Sunny Snetterton plays host to the season opener for the 2019 Avon Tyres National Formula 4 1600 Championship. We're expecting 3 great slipstreaming races around the high-speed circuit in Norfolk, and with lots of new faces joining in the action for this year, possibly a new champion could be crowned at the end of the year. It all starts here today though, with the first of 3 action-packed races.
Certainly should be, Andy, as the cars head onto the grid for the first round of the 2019 season with some new faces taking on the established challengers. This is how they line up. Ross Martin and Spike Colbecker on the front row of the grid from James Clark and Neil McLennan on row 2, with esports champion Brendan Lee starting 5th on his debut alongside Jonathan Brown, with Rory Smith and Michael McPherson on row 4. Max Maserati and Jamie Sharp complete the top 10 from Morgan Quinn, Aaron Jeanson, John Svensson and Henry Chart. Then Adam Quartermain and rookie Nicole Woods on row 8 from Pascal Monbaron, Klaus-Dieter Harkel, Sam Street and Scott Huntley rounding out the 20-car entry for this opening round of the season. It is a beautiful day here at Snetterton for the first of 3 15-minute races. Watch for the red lights at the top of the screen. We're on board with James Clark as 2019 is go here at Snetterton. Clean start from the first few rows, good getaway from Martin from pole position. James Clark already slotting up to 2nd place as they head down towards Ritchie's for the very first time in 2019. Martin leads, Clark in 2nd, Spike Colbecker from the front row down to 3rd, ahead of Neil McLennan. We go back on board with James Clark, a little wide on the exit of Ritchie's corner, down towards the Wilson hairpin for the first time. Martin continues to lead, Clark in 2nd, it's now McLennan up to 3rd place past Spike Colbecker. Rest of the field goes streaming through. There's Henry Chart towards the back as well as Pascal Monbaron. We've now got Rory Smith as they turn into the left-hander at Palmer's. He's already been a race winner so far this season. He won one of the opening Northern rounds at Alton Park just a week before this weekend. And now he's up there towards the front, challenging with the national front runners. To the outside line, into Agostini goes Smith. He's now making an attack on Jonathan Brown. Back on board with Smith in the Medina JL18. That's the Medina developed car by BM Racing. Into the left-hander at Hamilton's. Big sideways moment for Jonathan Brown in this opening lap. They head up towards Oggies for the first time. It's an early apex right-hander. Opens out all the way through the exit. Now towards Williams for the first time. Now we should explain again, these guys at the front, these are the pro class runners. They'll be going after the Road to Indy Scholarship Shootout prize, worth $200,000. Of course, you've got the club and drivers behind the more enthusiasts in Formula Ford racing, simply out to enjoy their competition. Side by side for the lead into the complex of Brendan Nelson. Clark tries to look up the inside of Ross Martin, but the Scotsman has the line covered as they turn out through Nelson up towards the bomb hole for the first time. This very fast right-hander just really dips on the apex, big compression as they hop out the other side. And now they start to turn all the way through this long right-hander as James Clark fights with the wheel to turn through Coram and up towards Murray's for the first time. It is Ross Martin that leads. We've then got the 2 of the 3 Cliff Dempsey cars in the mix, and there in car 72, that is double F1 esports champion Brendan Lee on his circuit racing debut, already battling with British F4 man Jamie Sharp. Back on board with James Clark, looking to the outside line to take the lead from Ross Martin down towards Ritchie's corner. Up the inside goes his teammate Spike Colbecker for 2nd place. Clark runs out wide, he's over the AstroTurf, he's over the dirt, he's off the road, he's onto the grass, through goes Colbecker, through goes Rory Smith. He's down to 4th position and almost 5th if he's not careful, into the hairpin. Whoops, contact, and I think that was Brendan Lee tagging the rear of Jonathan Brown as James Clark takes the long way around the hairpin, round his teammate, who's stationary, facing the wrong way at the hairpin. That's the last place he wants to be. This is the view of James Clark. That little speck in front is the men in 4th and 5th position. He's got an awful lot of work to do to try and catch back up to them after their mistake. Colbecker gliding the car backwards into Agostini hairpin. Shows how hard he's trying. Both of them have pulled away ever so slightly now from Ross Martin in 3rd place. This is the perfect view for Rory. Clear track in front, but just keep an eye on his left-hand mirror, because he's just there lurking in the background. Will be Spike Colbecker. There he is. And now, heading through the right-hander at Wilt Williams is going to be all crucial. There is Spike, was born in St. Louis. Now hoping to make his way up to the Road to Indy. One of his ambitions, he wants to make it to the Road to Indy shootout, and he really wants to shock the establishment through just how good he is. And now as they come down towards Brendan Nelson, there he is on the outside line, attacking for the lead on Rory Smith. Caught him a little bit off guard, but he sweeps back in front and holds on to the place. So Rory Smith being made to work for this one, and there again, his left-hand mirror, there is the looming Ray chassis of Spike Colbecker. He will not give this up. he would love to pick up a race victory in his first race in the UK. If he can pull this one off, it would be an absolutely fantastic result for Cliff Dempsey and a real find for him in terms of a future racing talent. Little sideways on the exit of Murray's as they head onto the pit straight now. Spike Colbecker is in the tow, up the centre straight, hugging the inside of the pit wall for the shortest run down towards Ritchie's. And down towards the right-hander as we now onto the last lap of the race, and Colbecker's down the outside line. But still, Rory Smith will not capitulate and give way. Cliff Dempsey's young charge, Spike Colbecker, is giving it everything now on the last lap here at Snetterton. This is only the first race of the season, and they're going at it hammer and tongs. This is a precedent for the rest of the year. This will be absolutely spectacular. Out of Wilson's, up towards Palmer's for the final time. And again, Rory Smith working the wheel of the 45, the Medina JL18 chassis, working well here in these warm conditions. Just behind the background, we see the two Kevin Mills twins of Brendan Lee and Neil McLennan battling amongst each other. And again, Smith deep on the apex of Agostini. Colbecker stays with him. Martin is there in third, keeping a watching brief. There are the two Kevin Mills cars in fourth and fifth. And again, Smith just backs the car into the corner. And back into Oggies for the last time. Little dab of curb. Use all the road on the exit. Now then, Colbecker needs to get a really good run off this corner onto the Bentley straight now for the last time, and he really has. Look at that. Look at the number 5 car. He's in the slipstream, looks to the inside line. Smith goes to cover. Can he shut him out? I think the answer is yes. There he is. Look in the mirror, and that's James Clark out of the race. Oh, well, that race went from bad to worse after the mistake, didn't it? And out of the race on his first weekend back with Cliff Dempsey. But out the final corner, Rory Smith has taken the lead. He stayed there and absorbed all the pressure from the cars behind. He will head to the checkered flag as the first winner of the 2019 season in the Avon Tyres National Formula 4 Championship. Rory Smith draws first blood at Snetterton, wins for Spike Colbecker in second place, Ross Martin third, and Spike Colbecker already gives the thumbs up. What a great run that was for Spike in his first race in the UK. Rory Smith takes the spoils. There's Ross Martin third. Here's the results. Smith, Colbecker and Martin make up the top three, with Jamie Sharp fourth, Neil McLennan fifth, then McPherson, Maserati, Quinn, Brown and Brendan Lee, who finished fourth on the road, but got a penalty to put him down to 10th. John Spence 11th, Adam Quartermain 12th, then Monbaron, Jeanson, Woods, Hartwell Street and Huntley round out the 18 finishers. Wow, what a great start to the 2019 season. Sunday morning and race 2 of the weekend at Snetterton for the Avon Tyres National Formula 4 Championship, but there's drama even before the race begins. Expected pole sitter Rory Smith does not take the formation lap, and as the grid is set as a direct reflection of race 1's results, it means that Spike Colbecker, who starts second on the grid, effectively inherits pole. So the race to grid is like this: no Smith, but Colbecker on his own on the front row from Martin and Sharp on row 2, then McLennan and McPherson on row 3 from Maserati and Quinn, rounding out the 4th row of the grid. Top 10 completed by Brown and Lee, followed by Svensson and Quartermain on row 6, followed by Monbaron and Jeanson on row 7, then Nicole Woods and Klaus-Dieter Harkel on row 8. The rest of the grid formed up by Sam Street, Scott Huntley, James Clark and Henry Chant. Watch for James Clark at the back of the grid for 19th. He will not stay there given his pace in that Cliff Dempsey Ray. So, Spike Colbecker on his own on the front row. Can he turn that from front row start to race victory? Let's find out. Lights out, and we are racing for race 2. And a good start from the first two men. Colbecker slots into the lead, Martin into second place. McLennan already under attack from Jamie Sharp to his left, but immediately Sharp has to go defensive on the inside line as here comes McPherson up the inside of the second of the Kevin Mills Spectrums. They turn their way through Richie's corner for the first time. Maserati's up to 6th as we go back on board with Neil McLennan. Down towards the Wilson hairpin for the first time, and it's the American Colbecker that leads. Martin and McLennan in second and third. Sharp's up to 4th. And now we look on board Max Maserati. He gets sideways on the exit over the curbs. There goes McPherson back through. Out of the Wilson hairpin up towards the left-hander of Palmer. Slightly off camera as you turn through the apex. But now the leaders head down towards Agostini for the first time. There's Jamie Sharp in the red and black Van Diemen heading into the hairpin with McPherson 5th, Maserati 6th. There's Jonathan Brown in 7th place and Morgan Quinn in 8th. Back on board with Maserati. Good strong start for him. Head out of Agostini towards Hamilton's for the first time. All of them tightly bunched together as they turn through. Big sideways moment for Max Maserati, but he just holds on. Nice piece of car control to keep the car on the straight and narrow. Runs wide on the exit through Oggies, but he keeps it again on the road. Here's a battle developing here. We've got Morgan Quinn having a scrap already with John Svensson in the early stages. Also Brendan Lee's in there as well. This is Nicole Woods in her second race in National Formula Fords, and she's off into the barriers. That is not how it was supposed to go to plan. Nicole Woods off into the barriers, and I'm afraid I think that will be her race over. I think she's going to power off the engine on the Van Diemen and climb out. Yeah, she appears to be okay. It was a fairly hefty hit, but these cars are pretty safe these days, so she'll try and unhook herself. And the lady race that's gone from horse racing to motorsport, experiencing a different kind of horsepower, no pun intended. She's going to have to try and bounce back for race 3 if BM Racing can get that car repaired. Leaders out of Murray's for the first time. Here comes McPherson battling with Jamie Sharp. Also in there too now is Jonathan Brown past Max Maserati. Morgan Quinn's in there too. But they'll all have to slow up because the safety car has been deployed. So Spike Kohlbecker and co, all with arms in the air, they will have to back off and start weaving from side to side, lining up behind the safety car to allow the marshals to recover the stricken Van Diemen of Nicole Woods. So everyone weaving left and right to keep tyre temperatures and pressures and brake temperatures up as high as possible. There is Aaron Jinksam in the number 46, one of the Oldfield Motorsport squad. James Oldfield also running Scott Huntley in this championship as well this season. So the leaders form up behind the safety car, as this is the camera shot from Nicole Woods' car, now on the back of the breakdown truck on its way back to pit lane. Andy Brickles will have quite an effort to get that car out for race 3. But the race is about to get underway, and what a restart that looks to be for Spike Kohlbecker. He really has done this before, hasn't he? Great getaway to get a pull away from both Martin and also from Neil McLellan. We've got, looks to be Michael McPherson in 4th place. We ride on board again with Max Maserati in the slipstream of Jonathan Brown, staring at the gearbox. They head down towards Ritchie's again on the restart. Neil McLellan. What has Kohlbecker got left now? Can he possibly try and make his way back through? Can McLellan do anything? Can he get past both of them to take the lead for himself? Let's wait and see as they sliver their way into Murray's corner, out through Coram, and back onto the pit straight. They're hugging the pit wall on the approach down towards Ritchie's. Again, the driver's view from McLellan. Staring at the gearbox of Kohlbecker. In turn, we're looking right at the back of Martin's car as McLellan darts out, tries to put himself into Spike's mirrors, tries to distract him into a mistake. But Spike is more experienced than that, and he stays in 2nd place, unnerved by the potential attacks behind him. So Neil says, right, I'll try the outside line if you're going to do that. And Spike Kohlbecker looks up the inside as Martin goes deep into Wilson hairpin and makes his move stick. That was a very crucial move there for Spike Kohlbecker, makes his way back through into a lead here at Snetterton in race number 2. So, what does McLellan have left? Can Martin get back through? I think that was a signal also to Martin behind to McLellan, say, look, push me, let's go after Spike and try and get past both of him. There's McPherson in 4th. There's a good battle here between the two Cliff Dempsey cars of Brown and Clark. Brown tried to go down the outside of Jamie Sharp, didn't work, and now he's got his teammate alongside him to his left-hand side as they head down towards Hamilton's. We're back on board with McLellan, who again is staring this time at the gearbox of Ross Martin, who in turn is now chasing back after Spike Kohlbecker to get back at him down towards the right-hander. Is there an opportunity here for him to get through? Kohlbecker with a great run off the Williams corner onto the Bentley straight, and look at McLellan now in 3rd place. He's got a fantastic toe on the rear of Ross Martin here, looking for 2nd place. Which way is he going to go? Inside, up towards Brundle. It'll be on the outside for Nelson, but McLellan saw Martin was going to sweep back across, and he holds on for the time being. Out of Brundle and Nelson, up towards the bomb hole. Are we now looking here at a potential first win here for Spike Kohlbecker? This is the last lap of the race. He's got 2 more corners to go now. McLellan giving it everything, Martin giving it everything, but Spike Kohlbecker, in only his 2nd race in the UK, he may have done one in Canada and in New Zealand. Now he's going to hit the big time here in Formula Ford. It'll be the sprint towards the line now between Kohlbecker, Martin and McLellan. We're on board with McLellan as we head towards the checkered flag. Martin gets close, but it's going to be too late. The checkered flag flies, and Spike Kohlbecker, in his 2nd race in the UK, picks up a race win in what was a very disruptive race. But Kohlbecker wins, Martin 2nd, McLellan 3rd, James Clark is 4th, and Michael McPherson 5th. Then Brown, Sharp, Maserati, Svensson and Monbaron rounding out the top 10. Great result for Svensson and Monbaron. Quartermain, Huntley, Street and Harkle, the remaining cars that finished. Look at the casualties. What a race of attrition, but a very happy top 3 on the podium with Andy.
Well, Spike, congratulations, race victory here in the second race at Snetterton. There's no such thing as an easy race in this championship, is there? And that one certainly wasn't easy.
Yeah, it definitely was not easy. It just came down to all the safety cars and stuff like that. It brought the pack back together, and that made it interesting and fairly difficult for the top three of us. But I felt like we all kept it clean, so that was I really appreciate that from the other drivers.
And at this early stage of the season, you know, any points you can get are useful, aren't they? How much are you considering sort of a championship bid here, and then also going for outright race victories?
I'm more leaning towards the end of the season. I'm looking for the long run. Yesterday we were close to the win, but it wouldn't have been done smoothly, so it's just backing off because there's always that risk. And I'm just trying to play the safe game right now because it's only the first weekend, and I think there's 6 or 7 race weekends, so just nice and smooth build up to it. And if a pass isn't there, just don't go for it because it's not worth it. And bad things can happen once you start doing that.
Neil McLennan brings us to the grid for the third and final race here at Snetterton for the opening weekend of the Avon Tyres National Formula 4 Championship. Race 3's grid is formed by a random reverse grid draw. On this occasion, the number 8 was pulled out of the bag, and that means after finishing 8th in race 2, Max Maserati will start the final race of the weekend on pole position. Alongside him will be Jamie Sharp, then Jonathan Brown and Michael McPherson, followed by James Clark and Neil McLennan, then Ross Martin, and race 2 winner Spike Colbecker back in 8th. John Svensson and Pascal Monbauer round out the top 10 from Adam Quartermain and Scott Huntley, then Samuel Street and Class Dieter Harkle, followed by the retirees from race 2 headed up by Rory Smith and Morgan Quinn, from Aaron Jeanson, Brendan Lee, Henry Chart and Nicole Woods. And I'm pleased to say all 6 of the cars that were involved in the incidents in race 2 have been fully rebuilt and are back on the grid for this final race. So great job from all the teams. This is Nicole Woods, this is Rory Smith, this is Michael McPherson. He starts higher up the grid next to Neil McLennan, who we ride on board with now. And this is now James Clark just alongside him. We're all set for the final 15 minutes of racing here at Snetterton for the weekend. Red lights on, and red lights 3 is go. Good start from the first few rows. Good start from Maserati from pole. Sharp squeezes alongside into second place. A great getaway from Neil McLennan. Already up to what could be third or fourth, challenging Jonathan Brown down towards turn 1. Ross Martin down the outside of McPherson for 5th position. The 2 Cliff Dempsey cars behind going into combat for 7th. This is the view from Rory Smith. He's coming alongside Scott Huntley in the number 3. He's one of the 2 Oldfield Motorsport cars and already tried to make up places from further down the grid. Out of the Wilson hairpin, down the short straight towards Palmer's for the first time. And Huntley slots in behind the 45. Rory Smith, of course, was supposed to start on pole position for race 2, but because of some problems getting off the grid, he had to start back in the pack, and then the restart gave him a bit of a saving grace, getting back onto the grid and moving back up through the order after problems, and then retiring at the midpoint of race number 2. Round the outside goes Neil McLennan to make a move on Jamie Sharp, tries to force the issue. Will he get to the left-hander at Hamilton's first? He will. So up to second place goes McLennan. Sharp will slot back into third, but already Team Dolan's Max Maserati taking full advantage of his start from pole position, and he leads the way halfway through the opening lap. We stay on board McLennan. She's working the wheel through the right-hander at Williams onto the Bentley straight. But let's see how much he can try and close in here. Maserati goes back to what is the racing line, but he knows that McLennan will try to draw closer. Goes back to the inside, but McLennan can pass down the outside. He just sails right around the outside, under brakes, squirming as he tries to get the car stopped for Brundle. Flicks right for Nelson, and in one fell swoop, it is Neil McLennan into the lead before the end of the first lap here in race number 3. Maserati in second. There's his Team Dolan teammate Ross Martin in third. Jamie Sharp, another of the Team Dolan crew, in fourth. Here's James Clark battling with Michael McPherson. And again trying that daring move up the inside at Cora. We tried that once in race 2. Didn't quite work. McLennan runs a little deep on the exit of Murray's, but already trying to stretch the advantage here as the leaders head onto the pit straight to end the first lap. There's Rory Smith up a gear, chasing after one of the Cliff Dempsey cars. I think there's one of his teammates ahead of him as well, as McLennan weaves from side to side to break the toe down towards Richie's corner. Maserati tries to throw it back up the inside for third place. Further back, that's James Clark up the inside of Michael McPherson. And also coming through is Rory Smith. We're on board with Rory now. Just to the left is McPherson. They hit the brakes together down through the gears. Look at the traffic jam ahead. We've got all 3 of the Cliff Dempsey cars together. Jamie Sharp's in there, as so is McLennan and Maserati and Ross Martin. So Rory Smith's got some work to do to make his way up through the pack ahead of him, through the left-hander at Palmer's. Now down towards the Agostini hairpin for the second time. So McLaren tries to break away in the lead. Maserati second. It is Spectrum versus Van Diemen, two former Scottish Formula 4 champions battling amongst each other for supremacy. So, onto the pit straight, hugging the pit wall. McLaren tries to hold on for the time being, and they head down towards the right-hander at Ritchie's, and I think we are now onto the last lap of the race. It's been an intense battle all the way through here at Snetterton, and we're not finished yet. McLaren back under brakes. Lots of winds on, lots of steering lock through the apex of Wilson. Out on the sprint towards Palmer. So can he hold on? Nice and tidy, little twitch, but keeps it nice and smooth on the exit. That's exactly the method that you want in a Formula Ford. Again, down towards Agostini. You can see that Martin just weaving around behind him, just trying to put him off and make a mistake, but McLaren is very experienced and isn't prone to mistakes all that often. So Martin will have to try and get a little bit more creative if he wants to try and get through. Through Williams, through Hamilton, sorry. On the exit on the runoff into Oggies. Steering lock, he threw into Oggies' corner there, using all the grip he's got available. He knows he has to try and get away from Martin as much as possible on this last lap of the race. And that's Michael McPherson pulling off the road. That's a shame. The Kevin Mills driver is out of the race and not ending his weekend on a high note. This man could, though. And McLaren knows he's under attack because Ross Martin is weaving this way and that. McLaren tries to break the toe as much as possible. Martin closes back in under braking. Is there an opportunity here in the last few corners of the race to make this move count? Into the bomb hole for the last time. We could be looking at 3 different winners in 3 different chassis with 3 different teams in the first 3 races. That is quite a stat, isn't it? But it's not over just yet. We've still got 2 more corners to go. Through Coram into Murray's for the final time. Now the sprint towards the checkered flag. McLaren over the curbs. Martin is there to try and make it through. We're on board with McLaren. Look in the mirror. There's Martin. He's closing in as much as he can, but up towards the checkered flag. He's going to close, but it is going to be too late. And McLaren will win race 3 here at Snetterton in a fantastic last lap battle with Ross Martin. Both of them show respect to each other as Martin sweeps past. There is your race winner, and very hard fought. A good way to come through the field after the reverse grid order. So, McLaren wins, Martin second and James Clark a strong third. Spike Colbecker fourth from Jonathan Brown and Rory Smith. Then Jamie Sharp, John Svensson, Max Maserati and Morgan Quinn round out the top 10. Then Adam Quartermain from Pascal Monbaron, Nicole Woods and Scott Huntley. Once again, another race of attrition with 6 retirements from that race. Brendan Lee hardly even getting started from the grid.
Well, Neil McLennan, race 3 victor here at Snetterton in a weekend that's got progressively better for you, hasn't it, really, from yesterday?
Yeah, it's got a lot better, really. Yesterday, like I said earlier on, it was just a mess. We got up to a few bit of troubleness in the first race, but no, that's forgotten about now. Second race today, it was good. Had a lot of safety car for a lot of laps, so that kind of backed the race out a bit. So no, that was fine. And then there in race 3, it's kind of all or nothing, really. Just try to get all the points in and see how it goes. But no, it came out in the end well. So can't thank Kevin Mills Racing enough for all the great work they've done.
Well, there you have it then. 3 great races here on the Snetterton 300 circuit and 3 different winners. It looks set to be another ultra-competitive season in 2019. Be sure to join us next time out at Alton Park to see who comes out on top next.